Hello everyone. I want to make a video today on the topic of reclaiming your intuition. In the last 2 to 3 years of my life, I've done a ton of work around reclaiming my intuition, which has been super empowering, and as it turns out, it was much more powerful than I thought it was this whole time. So yeah, I wanted to just make a video on it, and I hope some of you benefit. What's unfortunate is that a lot of us have been conditioned out of listening to our intuition or trusting our intuition. And there's various reasons for this. The main reason is people can be deceitful, they can be liars, and that can just throw you off, especially when, people you trust and authority figures and people you deem as powerful lie to you and deny your intuition, deny your reality, deny your experience of things. That can all make you trust yourself less and put your power outside of yourself. So the source of wisdom is no longer within you, it's outside of yourself. Pretty basic stuff. But then also, I think school and just like modern philosophies that society follows can also sort of cause us to not trust our own intuition anymore and trust the status quo. For example, one of these things is science. I think science really likes to test for subjectivity. And so, because subjectivity obviously can be biased, I don't disagree with that. But I think overall, scientific culture has started to really emphasize the fact that your subjective experience has to be flawed. And in order to really know something, we have to, measure it very rigorously and empirically. And while I understand the reason for this, it can throw a lot of us off. I mean, it threw me off for a long time because ultimately, our body is a tool for measurement. We do have many senses, much more than just five senses. The field of neuroscience fully, agrees on that. There are much more than five senses. So, just limiting all your knowledge to what these authority figures and these authority figures have told you and everything that you can remember, that's not the extent of your knowledge. And so on the flip side of that is intuition. And I know my channel covers neurodiversity, being an empath, being sensitive, things of that nature. And this video is for you because I swear, the more sensitive you are, I believe, the more powerful your intuition is. Let me explain. So when you walk into a room, and you're a sensitive person, you will feel the room. Okay, when you talk to someone, when you interact with someone, you will feel their energy. So say you have like an anxious response to walking into a room. Yes, that is, part of your own trauma, but it also can very much mean that there's anxiety in the air and that other people, despite their fake smiles, are also feeling anxiety. You can totally feel that in the room. Meanwhile, if you walk into a room where everyone's very relaxed, having a good time, feeling very safe, I guarantee you will not feel as much of an anxious response. And so you have to really attune yourself to just what is going on in your body, because intuition is not really as much of it's not a mental thing. It's an energetic thing. What energy are you feeling? It's the same with, when you talk to someone and you just get the sense that they're putting on a front or that they're not being fully authentic, like their expressions don't really match up with the energy you feel off of them. This is also another thing where if you don't trust your intuition, you'll just be like, okay, he's probably telling the truth. But once you trust your intuition and you really start to understand what's going on behind that mask, you'll understand that you've been lied to and deceived so many different times. So how do we reclaim our intuition? What's the point of this video? It can be kind of tough to reclaim your intuition. I mean, I think meditating and just doing things that get you more connected to your body and more connected to like who you are in essence, I think can be very good for intuition. I mean, the more you know yourself, the more you'll trust yourself in certain environments. But another way of reclaiming your intuition is just by being around people who are truth tellers, who tell the truth, who are radically honest. Because these people will tell it as it is, and you will be 100% sure that they are telling the truth. There are just people like that. You know them. And oftentimes people don't like to be around them. Why is that? Because, they can be a little bit rough around the edges, and they can kind of, expose you and maybe jab you a little bit. But ultimately, if these people are always telling the truth and they have an inability to lie, being around that will really help you understand the contrast between masking and not being masked. And the more you can be around that, the better. And the second way of reclaiming your intuition is to not lie, to be a truth teller yourself. Because here's the thing, the more that you lie and the more that you put on a front, the less you'll be able to trust when someone else does that. Because you're sort of living in that world as well. You don't trust yourself. So you might not have the ability to see it in someone else. The more you trust yourself to tell the truth, the more you'll trust yourself to know when others aren't. Because the truth rings, the truth hits, you'll feel it, and again, you'll sense when someone is saying something or acting in a certain way, and it just doesn't match up with their vibe. You will be able to tell. And ultimately, when you connect to your intuition, what it'll teach you is that no one really is a perfect human. No one knows what the heck is going on. I mean, growing up, I had this impression that everyone knew what was going on because, they were always kind of talking like they knew about everything, and they were always wearing a smile and they never seemed anxious or anything. But it's not true. Everyone has limiting beliefs. And even if they don't have limiting beliefs, there's just so many things they're not good at. And it's almost impossible to go through a day and to act perfectly in every situation. Come on, that's unrealistic. So it also just kind of give you permission to just be yourself and be your flawed self. And just like that, your authenticity will come online because you'll stop being scared of making mistakes because you know that everyone's making a mistake. And the people that really get on your butt about making mistakes are the people that are just self-critical themselves and doubt themselves and tend to put on a confident front as well. Don't fall for the fronts. The best people are loving, truthful, and will respect exactly where you're at in life. So I hope that helps in understanding how to reclaim your intuition. Please comment down below if you have any questions for me. I will definitely answer. I mean, my channel's still small. I'll see the comment. And yeah, feel free to like and subscribe and share this if you'd like. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I wish you a beautiful rest of the day.